what's happening around the world
and what's happening here at home. A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I am Rochelle Kinola.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Elon Musk claims US aid interfered in elections. President addresses World Government Summit in the UAE.
දේශ සීමා ඉක්මවන අභියෝගවලට මුහුණ දීම සඳහා අපි ගෝලීය පුරවැසියන් ලෙස එකට එක්විය යුතු බව මම යලිත් ඔබගේ අවධානය යොමු කරනවා.
Decision on power outages tomorrow. Norachole remains inactive. 139 police OICs transferred. 53 reassigned to general duties. 4 cops arrested in youth death. Post-mortem reveals assault. AG's department refutes claims of recall on release of trio in Lasantha Vikramatunga's assassination case. Sirasa Namami Navam Poya Day program observed at Dimbulagala.
In our top story for tonight, US President Donald Trump signed an executive order yesterday directing agency officials to draw up plans for large-scale cuts to the federal workforce and further empowered billionaire Elon Musk and his team to approve which career officials are hired in the future.
US President Donald Trump ordered US agencies yesterday to work closely with top advisor Elon Musk's effort to shrink the federal workforce by identifying government employees who can be laid off and functions that can be eliminated entirely. Billionaire Musk stood next to Trump in the Oval Office at the White House before the order was signed, taking questions from reporters. Responding to a reporter, Elon Musk made a special statement regarding the possible usage of financial resources from US aid for political purposes by certain countries during the election campaigns.
It has a worthy cause, USAID.
I think that there's some worthy things, but overall, if you say what was the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
For the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. The USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent and it's really corrupt.
At the same time, Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has written a letter to Elon Musk complaining about the subsidies and grants that the US aid agency has provided to NGOs, media outlets and specific journalists in Slovakia. Fico wrote in a Facebook post, quote-unquote, "It is indisputable that financial resources from US aid were used in Slovakia for political purposes with the aim of distorting the political system and favouring certain political parties." The Prime Minister continued to say that even from incomplete public sources, it is clear that the US aid agency supported these entities with subsidies amounting to several $1 million over a relatively short period.
President Andrakumara Dissanayake emphasized the importance of global unity, urging that as citizens of the world, we must join forces to tackle challenges that know no borders. He expressed these views at the World Government Summit 2025 in the UAE.
President Andrakumara Dissanayake is visiting the United Arab Emirates at the invitation of UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
මගේ රට අපූර්ව ඉතිහාසයකනුත් අනාගතය පිළිබඳ සුබ සිහින දකින වර්තමානයකනුත් පුළුල් දේශපාලන සමාජ දැනුමකින් සන්නද්ධ පුරව.
My nation, Sri Lanka, is a land with a rich history, now striving towards a brighter future. As an island, it is home to a people who are deeply engaged in both social and political matters. Our citizens are compassionate, always ready to empathize with those facing hardship wherever they may be in the world. While we hold our culture in high regard, we also possess the wisdom to adapt to changing social dynamics. A simple search on your smartphone will reveal that Sri Lanka, the country I represent, is the world's leading provider of corneas, offering the gift of sight to patients across many nations. Today, the challenges we face, both as individual nations and as a global community, are vast and complex. While some may ignore these complexities and continue their journey with self-interest, the isolated issues of today inevitably evolve into global crises, rendering such selfish actions ineffective. It is crucial that we recognize the need to act as global citizens to tackle challenges that transcend borders. For us to secure a prosperous future, efficiency and accountability in governance are essential. Collective action must be taken, and citizens must be inspired to engage in such efforts. The performance of state institutions and machinery operating with accountability and responsibility will shape the direction our world takes in the coming years. Social justice and respect for the rule of law are foundational to building a just and prosperous state and indeed a better world. In a time when nearly 60% of the world's poorest nations are facing or are on the brink of a debt crisis, their citizens are left uncertain about their futures and the stability of the global economy. Another crucial aspect is the need for financial reforms that align with the demands of the modern world. At the same time, we are heading toward perilous consequences due to climate change, the degradation of delicate ecosystems, and the unchecked pollution resulting from industrial development. Many nations, though still developing, are blessed with natural beauty, but they face devastation as the waste of others end up on their shores. Nations and islands with pristine coastlines are increasingly becoming victims of such pollution. If you ever visit our nation, you will be awestruck by the beauty of our shores stretching across the island. As a country, we are making significant efforts to preserve the appeal of our beaches. The digital revolution has transformed how people live, work and communicate. While this technology has helped improve lives and make them safer, it also brings new risks and challenges to citizens and governments across the world. It is essential that the global community establishes a strong cybersecurity framework to protect against these emerging threats. Looking ahead, several health risks are expected to intensify over the next 2 decades due to population growth and the negative effects of urbanization. A single virus managed to compel the entire world to wear face masks for over a year, from the wealthiest nations to the poorest. It is imperative that we address issues such as digital health, modern medical technologies, environmental health and sustainability, and medical financial assistance for nations facing economic challenges. Honorable guests, whether you represent the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Europe or other Western nations, the challenges we face are shared, and the collective pulse we all feel calls for us to unite and build a better world. In our own nation, we rallied our citizens around a common goal to unite in creating a prosperous nation and a fulfilling life for all. In this historic achievement, they came together with that vision in mind. I urge all of you at this historic forum to join hands in creating a beautiful world and a meaningful life for all.
The Ceylon Electricity Board will announce tomorrow if scheduled power outages will be implemented. CEB spokesperson Dhammika Wimalaratne said that the situation is still under review.
After reviewing the current electricity demand, the Ceylon Electricity Board said power cuts were not necessary today. The 3 generators at the Norachore power plant remain inactive, causing a loss of nearly 900 megawatts to the national grid. Hydropower generation is currently at 30%. The CEB is taking measures to manage the electricity supply effectively while ensuring the conservation of available water resources. Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Commission has requested a comprehensive report from the Ceylon Electricity Electricity Board regarding the island-wide power outage that occurred on Sunday. PUCSL Chairman Professor Lalit Chandradal said that once the report is reviewed, appropriate actions will be considered to prevent such incidents from happening again.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Electricity Public Employees Union expressed views about the recent power outage during a media briefing.
When we look at power outages, we see that there seems to be a political issue. In 2015, when a new government came in, a major breakdown happened in 2016. Then, when a government took over in 2019, there was another breakdown in 2021, and the president ended up resigning. After that, during the time of the new president who was appointed after the previous one left, another power outage happened in 2022. In 2023, while the appointed president was in power, there was yet another breakdown. Now, with this new president appointed, just a few months later, a complete power outage has occurred under this government. If this continues after spending millions or even billions on a new system, it's a serious problem. It's easy to cover this up and call it a big technical issue. But if such a system fails, it's no different than a short circuit in a house causing a village transformer to blow. This is a case of dereliction of duty and willful negligence, which is a serious civil offence. The engineers involved in these failures should be suspended and investigations should be carried out.
139 police OICs in Sri Lanka have been transferred, marking the largest police reshuffle in recent history. The moves approved by the National Police Commission were implemented by Acting Inspector General of Police, Attorney Priyantha Veerasurya. The reshuffle includes 105 Chief Inspectors of Police and 34 Inspectors of Police. These transfers are due to take effect from tomorrow. 53 police OICs from Colombo and the suburbs have been reassigned to general duties. 50 new appointments are also among the transfers. Police spokesperson SSP Buddhika Manatunga told Newsfirst that the transfers were not politically motivated. He said that these transfers were made in a context where police OICs had not been transferred for a long time and that the lack of performance of some officers was also a reason for these transfers. He added that the decision to retain police OICs in that position is based on their annual performance. Accordingly, steps have been taken to obtain the performance of the OICs monthly through the officers in charge of the divisions.
Three main factors influence the transfers. First, a police OIC cannot serve at the same station for more than 3 years. Second, their efforts to maintain control over crime and ensure peace were insufficient. Third, their appeals also played a role. This is a standard procedure within the Sri Lanka Police.
4 constables from the Wadua police station have been arrested in connection with the death of a suspect who is released on bail after being taken into custody. Police spokesperson SSP Buddhika Manatunga said the constables were arrested by the Panadura Division Crime Investigation Bureau.
The deceased, RM Samita Dilshan, a 24-year-old man from Thalpitia, Wadua, was arrested by the Wadua police on the 10th of February on charges related to a road accident. He was later granted bail. However, according to his wife, after returning home following his release, Dilshan began vomiting blood and soon died.
පොලිසිය බයික් එකට අත දාලා තිබ්බා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඩ්‍රයිව් කරපු එකලා නවත්තන්න නැතුව යන අතරදී පොලිසිය ඒගොල්ලෝ පස්සෙන් පන්නලා අල්ලගෙන ගිහින් තිබ්බා ඒගොල්ලන්ව. ඊට පස්සේ මහත්තයාට හොඳටම ගහලා ගෙදර රෑ 12ට විතර ආවා. ඒ ආවට පස්සේ පපුව රිදෙනවා කියලා ලේමමනේ දැම්මා මං ඊට පස්සේ 1990ට කෝල් කරලා හොස්පිටල් අරන් ආවා. හાર્ට් ඇටැක් එකක් ඇවිල්ලා කියලා කිව්වා. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි මහත්තයා නැති වෙලා කියලා ළමයි කිව්වේ. මේ මහත්තයා මට නැතුණා.
Dilshan, a father of one, died under mysterious circumstances, leading his relatives and residents of the area to protest opposite the Wadua police station, alleging that he died as a result of the assault by the police. A post-mortem examination conducted today at the Panadura hospital confirmed that the deceased had been assaulted. However, the judicial medical officer concluded that the cause of the death was a heart attack. Police spokesperson SSP Buddhika Manatunga said that the 4 constables involved were arrested and will be produced before the Panadura Magistrates Court tomorrow. Steps have also been taken to suspend the officers pending further investigations.
The Attorney General's Department has dismissed reports claiming that a letter to release 3 individuals linked to the murder of journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge has been recalled. The department clarified that it has instructed the police to provide any new developments regarding the case. A senior official from the Attorney General's Department said that a letter authorizing the release of 3 individuals connected to the assassination case of journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge has been handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department officers. It was scheduled to be submitted to the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court tomorrow. The Attorney General's Department said that as of Friday, no new files related to the investigation had been submitted to the department. A recent statement issued by the Attorney General emphasized that the release of the individuals do not impede the filing of criminal charges should new evidence emerge. The statement signed by State Counsel Angelo Van Hoff on behalf of the Attorney General also mentioned the release of Prem Ananda Udalagama, who was connected to the kidnapping of Wickrematunge's driver. The decision was made due to insufficient evidence to press charges against him. Additionally, Donthesa Sirisugudapala and Prasanna Nanayakara, who were arrested in relation to the disappearance of a document from Wickrematunge's vehicle, were released for similar reasons, citing a lack of evidence to file charges.
Views were expressed at yesterday's Cabinet Decisions briefing regarding the investigations into the incident involving the assassination of journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge.
The investigation into the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge is still going on. Once the investigation is complete, the appropriate charges and legal action will be pursued. This was stated by the Attorney General in a recent press release. The government's stance is clear. The investigative process to identify and apprehend those responsible for this crime must be strengthened, and those responsible must face proper prosecution. This is why the President has called the relevant institutions together to hold discussions. We are committed to delivering the justice that the public expects, and no one should have any doubts about that.
රජයට පිරිසුදු චේතනාවක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මේ ආයතන වල ලැබතියාවන් තියෙනවනේ. ඒ ලැබතියාවන් එක්ක
What happened to the village? Tonight we focus on a stalled housing project in Anuradhapura.
What happened to the village? The housing project in Anuradhapura was initially launched as part of the national policy framework Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, aiming to provide comfortable homes for all. Construction of the 10-story, 135-unit apartment complex began in 2021, a joint venture between the Anuradhapura Urban Development Authority and a private company. The anticipated completion time was 18 months. Currently, the project is a standstill. The allocated budget for the project was 1.6 billion rupees. The status of these funds is now under question, as the project remains incomplete.
දැන් කම්බි ඉඳන්ම දිරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ මහ ජනතාවගේ මුදල්නේ මේක හරියට කරන්න එපේ අපටත් මේ ලොකු අවදානමක් මේ මෙහෙම ඉන්නේ එක අපි ගෙවල් අයිනේ හදන දේපල හදන සල්ලි නෙමේ මේක අපරාධේ මේ විදියට මේක තියෙන එක මේකට මොකද විසඳුමක් දෙන්න කියලා තමයි අපි නම් ඉල්ලන්නේ
135 families still dream of a safe home, their hopes pinned on this half-finished building. Authorities should now investigate the whereabouts of the funds allocated for this housing complex. With upcoming elections, it's uncertain how villagers will hold those seeking their votes accountable for this situation. What happened to the village?
News First with the people.
Chairman of Litrogas Channa Gunawardena said it will maintain the current pricing of domestic gas cylinders for the month of February. The price of a 12.5 kilogram domestic gas cylinder will remain at 3,690 rupees. On to more news. The Navam Full Moon Poya Day commemorates several pivotal events in the history of Buddhism. On this day, the appointment of Sariputta and Moggallana as Buddha's chief disciples, along with the proclamation of the Vinaya, the code of ethics for Buddhist monks based on Buddha's teachings, took place. To observe Namam Poya, Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM organized the Sirasa Namami Poya program at the Dibulgala Forest Monastery.
The Sirasa Namami Poya program, organised by Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM on every Poya day, took place at the Ruanvali Mahasaya on the previous Durutu Poya day. To commemorate Navam Poya this month, the Sirasa Namami Poya program was held at the Dibulagala Forest Monastery, beginning with a special puja earlier today. The puja was conducted by Venerable Valikande Vibalaratana Lankara Thera of the Dibulagala Forest Monastery. Venerable Dr. Kandegama Deepavansa Lankara Thera, the incumbent of the Kandegama Dhanajaya Rajamaha Viharya and senior lecturer at the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, delivered the Sirasa Damsara Dhamma sermon today. The Sandasa Kathikavata, which is being held for the perpetuation of the Buddhist religion, was delivered by Venerable Waturukubure Dhammaratana Thera, the founder of the Nelligala International Buddhist Centre. This year's Pansil Malua Dhamma sermon was conducted by Venerable Hasalaka Sila Vibala Thera. The Turunu Sita Dhamma discourse organised for the youth was held afterwards. The program was conducted by Venerable Gallalle Panya Sagara Thera. A commemorative plaque detailing the history of Dibulagala was unveiled today on the occasion of the Navam Full Moon Poya Day program. The event was attended by Venerable Dibulagala Rahula Lankara Thera, the Chief Sanganayaka of the North and East Tamankadwa districts, and a group led by Chief Operating Officer of MTV Yasrat Kamalsiri. A casket puja and a painting by artist Hemanta Varakapitiya were also offered during the event. A song dedicated to the historic Dibulagala Forest Monastery, produced by Sirasa TV, with lyrics by Uday Vanyarachi, music by Tarindu Ranatunga and vocals by Chamilka Gayatri, was also released today. The proud history of the Dibulagala Forest Monastery was then discussed in the Vihara Asana program. It was led by Venerable Dibulagala Rahula Lankara Thera, the Chief Sanganayaka of the Tamankadwa region, and Venerable Devagala Deva Lankara Thera. This was followed by the Sat Piyuma program, where discussions were held on culture and art. The program, conducted by Venerable Kuttikulame Pema Lankara Thera, was also attended by renowned lyricist Wasanta Dugganarala and esteemed film and music director Darshana Ruwan. Thereafter, the Podi Sadhugen Ahanna program, that brings together children and novice monks, took place. The Sirasa Namami Poya program concluded this evening after the evening Gilan Pasa Puja.
The Navam Mahaperahara at the Ganga Rama Temple in Colombo is currently underway. This year marks the 46th edition of the Navam Mahaperahara, and the event is also scheduled to be broadcast on Sirasa TV tonight at 10:30 p.m. However, let's now cross over to the live event.
හැමදාම දලදා කරඬුව වඩමවනකොට මේ වෙස් කණ්ඩායමක් තමයි ඉස්සරහින් එන්නේ. ඒ වගේ මේ ඒ පෙරහැරකට අනන්‍ය වූ පිහිටීමක් තියෙන මහජාත්මනේ. ඔව්.
පෙරහැරක පිළගැස්මක් තියෙනවා. ඒක සාම්ප්‍රදායික පිළගැස්මක්. දැන් මේ පෙරහැරේ සාම්ප්‍රදායික පිළගැස්ම වෙනම লীලා තියෙනවා. හැමදාම ඒක ලොකු වෙනසක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
මගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ උනේ අපේ හමුදුරන්ගේ ආරම්භක කාලේ ඉඳලම මීට අවුරුදු 40කට එහා පැත්තේ පටන් ගන්නකොට 46කට එහා පැත්තේ පටන් ගන්නකොට එදා ඉඳලම මේ විදිහට යන්න ඕන කියලා එහෙම නියමයක් එක්කද පෙරහැර පටන් ගත්තේ.
මේ පෙළගැස්ම තිබුණා. නමුත් ඔය ගිනි බෝල එහෙම මුලදී ඉස්සරහින් අරගෙන ගියා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ අලියතුන්ට මේ ගිනි බෝල වල කෑලි පෑගෙන නිසා සමහරලාට අලියතුන් කුලප්පු වෙනවා මිනිස්සුන්ට මේ පාවා.
The Sinhala translation of the popular Indian Buddhist comic series and the Buddham Saranam Gacchami arts exhibition were unveiled today at the Kalaniya Rajamaha Viharaya.
The High Commission of India in Colombo launched the Sinhala translations of 5 Jatak tales of the Amar Chitrakatha comic books on the occasion of Navam Full Moon Poya Day at the Kalaniya Rajamaha Viharaya. The books were well received by the audience, including hundreds of Sunday school students in participation. The chief incumbent of Kalaniya Rajamaha Viharaya, Venerable Professor Kollupitiye Mahinda Sangarakita Thera, and the Deputy Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Satyanjal Pandey, among others, attended the event.
We all, Sri Lankan, we know that India has a long history as well as very rich artistic culture or tradition. We must thank the Indian government for providing this opportunity to Sri Lankan to enjoy our own traditions, what we all have in India as well as in Sri Lanka.
Amar Chitrakatha is a world-renowned Indian comic book publisher founded in 1967 with most of its comics based on religious legends and epics, historical figures and biographies, folk tales and cultural stories. These stories connect children to their cultural roots. Similarly, the Jataka tales being launched today will connect your young minds to the timeless wisdom of Lord Buddha in a medium that is attractive and playful. In this age of screens and constant digital distractions, there remains an undeniable power in the simple traditional art of storytelling.
Today also marks a special occasion, the launch of the Amar Chitrakatha series in Sinhala language. This commendable effort brings these valuable narratives to a wider audience here in Sri Lanka. My own PhD research on Jataka stories and Hindi folk tales at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, India, has given me some insight into the world of narrative literature. Indian moral stories are powerful tools for character development. By presenting characters facing dilemmas and choices, they help us understand empathy, compassion, and responsible decision making. While the world today is discussing artificial intelligence, we have these narrative traditions from history filled with real artistic intelligence. You know, it is not an artificial intelligence, it is real artistic intelligence, which helps so nurture human society. I believe these stories will be invaluable for our alpha generation as well. From the Panchatantra and Jataka tales to the Hitopadesha and the epics of Mahabharata and Ramayana, these timeless stories continue to inspire globally.
In addition to the book launch, the High Commission also hosted the second edition of the Buddham Saranam Gacchami mobile exhibition at Kalaniya Rajamaha Viharaya. This exhibition presents a distinguished collection of paintings illustrating key episodes from the life of Lord Buddha, as well as other important Buddhist teachings. The exhibition will be showcased at various Buddhist temples across the country on each Poya Day throughout the year.
The third gathering of the Photographic Society of America is currently underway in Sri Lanka. The group yesterday made a visit to a stilt fishing site in Koggala and captured the picturesque sunset of the south coast of Sri Lanka.
A group of 90 photographers representing the Photographic Society of America who arrived in Sri Lanka for an 8-day tour were seen yesterday capturing the images of a picturesque sunset at Koggala. The photographers from 20 different countries also focused on capturing the serene view of fishermen engaging in stilt fishing over the setting sun.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on his third day in France, arrived in the city of Marseille early this morning.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-day visit to France. Today, on his third day in France, Prime Minister Modi visited Mazargues War Cemetery in Marseille and paid homage to soldiers who died in the First and Second World Wars. Prime Minister Modi, on his visit to Marseille, also inaugurated the Indian consulate at Marseille and later visited the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Project, an international nuclear fusion collaboration. PM Modi also co-chaired the AI Action Summit with French President Emmanuel Macron. Addressing the AI Action Summit before his arrival in Marseille, Prime Minister Modi called for efforts to develop open source systems that promote trust and transparency and emphasized the need to democratize technology.
India is building its own large language model considering our diversity. We also have a unique public-private partnership model for pooling resources like compute power. It is made available to our startups and researchers at an affordable cost. And India is ready to share its experience and expertise to ensure that AI future is for good and for all.
This is Prime Minister Modi's 6th visit to France, according to officials. Concluding his visit in France, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit the United States tomorrow, an official working visit, becoming only the third foreign leader to be hosted by the White House after President Donald Trump took office on the 20th of January 2025. This is the earliest visit by an Indian Prime Minister in the presidency of any US president in recent memory, which points to the strengthening of ties between India and the US in the past decades. Prime Minister Modi will reportedly meet several members of Trump's cabinet as well as US business leaders and members of the Indian-American community. According to foreign media reports, he may also meet Elon Musk.
Sri Lanka won the first match of the one-day cricket series today, beating Australia by 49 runs at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo.
Sri Lankan captain Sirasa Lanka won the toss and chose to bat first.
First runs.
Sri Lanka struggled early, losing their first 5 wickets for just 55 runs. Kusal Mendes scored 19 runs. Sri Lanka steadied the innings with support from Dunithwel Lalage, who made 30 runs. Sri Lanka scored 127 runs, including 14 fours and 5 sixers, for his 4th ODI century. Australia's Sean Abbott took 3 wickets. Sri Lanka were all out for 214 runs. Chasing 215, Australia lost early wickets, with Asitha Fernando dismissing Matthew Short for a duck and Jake Fraser for just 2.
Yes, given. It straightens down the line. Short's question. Oh, yes, they can. Asitha and his ball just...
Australia were 31 for 4. Alex Carey top scored with 41. Aaron Hardy made 32. Fernando and Villalage each took 2 wickets. Mahesh Theekshana was the star bowler with 4 wickets for 40 runs. Australia were all out for 165 runs in 33.5 overs. Sri Lanka now lead the 2-match series 1-0.
Clawing your way was almost down and out. And just as Steve Smith has been impressing us with his leadership, Charita Salanka does today.
The press conference for the 23rd International Schools Athletics Championship was held yesterday in Colombo.
Gateway College will host the 23rd International Schools Athletics Championship or ISAC 2025 at the Sugadadasa Stadium in Colombo on the 22nd and 23rd of February. Since its inception in 2001, ISAC has grown into the premier sporting event on the international schools calendar, showcasing the athletic excellence of students from 22 international schools. The media briefing held in Colombo was attended by the chairman of Gateway College, Dr. Harsha Alice.
From where we started, I think we've come a long way, because ISAC is now considered to be one of the national meets where the competition is at a very high level and the standards, be it electronic timing or whatever AAA demands are, we meet all of them, and it's becoming almost an international competition. The quality of the meet, I think, has helped many athletes not just to get to national standards but to international standards. We can speak of athletes like Shehan Ambepitiya, Shelinda Jansen and many such athletes who brought honor to our motherland.
The championship is expected to attract approximately 1,500 athletes representing the participating schools.
Today was a truly special day at the Ridhiyagama Safari Park as the 6 adorable lion cubs born just 3 months ago officially received their names.
We leave you tonight with this edition of Happy Headlines. Good night.
Happy Headlines.
Lara and Eula, the proud lion parents, are now the parents of 1 male cub and 5 female cubs. The naming ceremony was the highlight of the day, drawing the attention of visitors who were given the chance to suggest names for the little ones. After receiving thousands of thoughtful suggestions, the park authorities picked the names for the cubs. The male cub was named Mega and the 5 females were named Tara, Akila, Azra, Bhumi and Thalsa. The event wasn't just about the cubs, it was also a celebration of the community's involvement. The children who came up with the names received special gifts as a thank you for their creativity.